Sorry about that interruption, you guys. My phone was ringing and I needed to answer it because it was a phone call I was waiting for, but it ended up not being the actual phone call I was waiting for. It was somebody saying, "Do you have debt collection problems?" Blah, 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 blah. And I was, oh man, I hate that. I hate getting, it doesn't happen very often. Actually, it's never happened. This is the first like sort of telemarketer that's called my phone. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I digress. Here is, I wanted to add this writer to the collection of counterculture because he really is a counterculture writer, not of the Beat generation per se, but Franz Kafka. This is his biography by his best friend Max Brod. Many people know Kafka for writing The Trial and Metamorphosis. He's also written many other amazing works of literature. But I've always been a huge fan of Franz Kafka, so there it is on this shocking books from Madison, New York. All right, another counterculture writer that wasn't part of the Beat generation that I consider counterculture would be Hermann Hesse. King Klingsor's Last Summer. I think I might have a couple other Hermann Hesse books in here also. He wrote Steppenwolf, which is obviously where the band Steppenwolf got their name. Another really famous one is Magister Ludi in the Glass Bead Game. That was probably one of my favorites. So one of his, I think it was his last book that he wrote. Yeah, wonderful artwork on the front. This is a Noonday Press. Really old copy of Dr. Sachs by Jack Kerouac. At the time when this was new, it was only $2.25. So, Dr. Sachs, a weird and wonderful book. Check out the artwork too. It's just phenomenal. This was an interesting find. I got this at there's a group of like bunch of chains, like not chain stores, like Value Village kind of, but lower quality, is called Frenchies here in St. John or in the Maritimes or whatever. And they often have books. And I found this Poets on the Peaks. Gary Snyder, Philip Whalen, and Jack Kerouac in the Cascades, and it's just a what do they call it? It's a bound gallery. There's no photos, but there is in the original. It's just like kind of like an example of what the book could be. I know there's a word for it, but anyway, bound galley, I guess, not for sale. I don't know how rare that is, but it's pretty neat. I like Gary Snyder. I saw him read and got his autograph. I forgot to get that. I should show that. I might show that next time. But I got his autograph on a book of poetry that he was writing, and with another Korean poet when I was in Korea. He signed it. A really old version of Big Sur too, by Jack Kerouac on the New English Library. This one wasn't for sale in the United States. Anyway, there it is, Big Sur. This was a UK version, I guess. It has all the prices down here. 60p in the UK. So Australia, $1.35. Anyway, okay, so another counterculture writer would be definitely be, and I don't think he'd like to be classified as a beat writer also, but it's Charles Bukowski. Musings. This is written by one of his friends, Jim Christie. Musings on Charles Bukowski. For those who don't know about Charles Bukowski, he mostly wrote about drinking, horse racing, and women, and almost none of it was in a positive vein. So he was an angry old man, but an excellent writer, if you ask me. There's a picture of him at the piano. Didn't really know he made music, but I'll show another picture here. There's Charles Bukowski again. So, all right, and another counterculture sort of writer, but in a different. He's not the Beat generation, but he did write about the '60s quite a bit. Thomas Pynchon, The Crying of Lot 49. This was highly lauded when it was released. Again, wonderful '60s oriented. I got that for 50 cents. 60s oriented artwork. Great writer. If you don't know Thomas Pynchon, he also wrote Beat. trying to think of another one. I can't think of it right now. Sorry. Another like underground writer, although he's really quite popular, but he's not a beat writer. But George Orwell's 1984 Signet Classic, published by the New American Library. I'll try to go a little quicker. Sorry, I feel it's taking forever here. Albert Camus, another underground sort of counterculture writer, The Plague, a wonderful, wonderful book. Very dark, but amazing at the same time. Very philosophical. Jack Kerouac, The Vanity of Duluth. Actually, you know what? I don't think I've read this one. This is an early one, I do believe, written in 1967. For the vantage point of the psychedelic 60s, I should read it. Anyway, I haven't yet though. This is a a more recent copy. This was like what, 1895. I didn't pay that much for it though. I'm sure of it. And here's another book by that poet by that poet Richard Brodigan. Most of his books too featured a wonderful black and white photo on the front, which is in itself eye-catching. I think I did actually a pen and ink drawing of the cover of this when I was practicing drawing. Anyways, this is funny because usually there's a lot of information on the artist on the back, but as you can see, this just says Richard Brodigan is 33. He lives in San Francisco. That's it, you know. And so there you go. This is selected poems, and he writes very short poems, but very succinct, very like. Well, here's an example. Like I won't read it, but you can just read it yourself. Like there's a lot of different ways you can take that poem. It's very philosophical. You can have like technology versus humanity. It's pretty neat. Anyway, he's a very thought-provoking writer, and I highly recommend if you like poetry and experimental ways in which to write poetry. Check out Richard Brodigan. The Dharma Bums, Jack Kerouac on Penguin. Aldous Huxley, Brave New World. This is a really old copy of this too, but again, I picked it up because I just love the artwork. It's just fantastic. And this one is also a UK. Well, actually, I'm not sure where it's. It is a UK because at the bottom it says this for copyright reasons, this edition is not for sale in the USA. So it's nice to have. And probably the most pivotal and quintessential writer of the 60s counterculture would be Timothy Leary, The Politics of Ecstasy. This is just, he not only was out to lunch by doing a lot of acid, but he was out to lunch just on the things that he had to say. Like, this guy was really, really smart, and obviously was a big advocate for LSD. And so this is, I don't know how rare this is, but I'm really happy to have it. Palladian, I think it's on Palladian. I think I got it at, I don't know. I think I just got it at like a used bookstore or something. And the last two are two more Hermann Hesse novels. Probably one of my favorites that he's written. If you want to start anywhere with Hermann Hesse, you want to Siddhartha is a really amazing book. Steppenwolf, and then there's also Demian, which is probably my favorite. This one I've had forever, and I've traveled with it, and it's just beat, but I just love it. I love this book, Demian. Really, really amazing book. And then this is the most, the most well-known of his Steppenwolf, Hermann Hesse. So yeah, hopefully this didn't go too long, guys. I just wanted to show some of my counterculture sort of books that I've been carrying around for a long time and collecting for a long time. And I know that Stefan73 and Mr. Fartboy 79 will enjoy them. If anybody else does, that's fine too. That's great. Please leave some comments, and thanks a lot, everybody. Long live the BC.